Dear students, we are now looking at residential property disposal for individuals. For example, we have a residential property. The capital gains tax on residential property is paid on a payment on account within 60 days. And there has to be a separate working. However, the rates have become similar, but still a separate working has to be done since the payment has to be made within 60 days of the disposal. Okay. But you need to know that whenever we are going to calculate the tax that is paid on the residential property, we would take all the losses that have taken place, the capital losses that have taken place during this year before the sale of the residential property. And we also give the annual exempt amount to the residential property. And if there are any capital losses brought forward, they would also be given to the residential property to reduce the amount of the gain. Okay, because that is due within 60 days. So, and this is how we do the calculation. However, when it comes to the overall capital gains that would be paid along with the balancing payment, that would be the total amount, and any payment on account that we have made would be deducted, and the balance would be paid along with the balancing payment. Okay, so let's go through this whole thing which I've just explained, the treatment of the residential property, what about the other gains and things like that. Okay, and then there is a comprehensive example that will help us understand it better. So first of all, where capital gains tax is due on disposal of a residential property, the payment is due within 60 days. This is agreed. We discussed it. Now, what is the treatment of the annual exempt amount or the losses in the current year and the losses brought forward? So you say all of those, the annual exempt, any loss incurred in the same tax year prior to the disposal, plus any capital loss brought forward, are all taken into account in the calculation of the payment on account. Okay, and any other chargeable gain or capital losses incurred after the disposal of the residential property are ignored. They will be taxed separately. The residential property disposal is still included in the taxpayer self-assessment. This is what I explained when it comes to calculating the balancing payment. This is included, okay? So this is still considered, however, the payment is already made. So then what we do is the payment on account being deducted from the total. So we do the whole calculation again, like this is the total capital gain payable, including the residential property. And then we deduct the payment that we have already made, the payment on account, being deducted from the total capital gains tax liability. Any additional tax is payable on 31st of January following the tax year. Now, this is the balancing payment we're referring to. And if a payment is due, this will be claimed when the self-assessment tax return is for the year is submitted. Okay, so whatever payment is due, we can make a claim that we've already made the payment. There is no need to submit a return if there is no CGT due. Okay, so if there is nothing other than those residential property gain, then we do not have to submit any CGT return. For example, where the property is sold at a loss or the gain is covered by the annual exempt amount, okay, or the private residence relief. So if there is CGT, only then we submit the return, otherwise we don't. Okay, so let's quickly look at this example. This is a good one where we see that there are a number of losses and gains during this year. So Dorothy, a high rate taxpayer, had the following chargeable gains and capital losses during the tax year. At the start of the tax year, there was a capital loss brought forward from the previous period of 9,000. During this year, there was a capital loss of 5,000 from land. That was in April. And then in June 2025, a chargeable gain of 11,000 from a disposal of shares. And then on 31st of July 2025, there is a chargeable gain of 125,000 on the disposal of a residential property. Okay. And finally, there was another capital loss after the gain on the residential property of 10,000. Okay. So when it comes to the calculation of the gain on the residential property, we are going to consider a few things here. Like we are going to, first of all, net off the gain. this gain would be net off with this loss. Then there will be the annual exempt amount, and finally, this loss will also be given to the residential property. Okay, we will leave out this one separately, and this gain on the shares, there is gain on one of the shares of 11,000 and there is a loss, so we are going to net them off. Okay, so these will be treated separately. Okay, why? Because you see, we can, for the residential property, the gain on the residential property, we can get benefit from this capital loss in the current year, we can benefit from the annual exempt amount, and we can benefit from the capital loss. Okay, so this chargeable gain will be left aside because that is separate category, and then this would be net off with this loss. Okay, you cannot use this loss for the residential property because that is after the sale of the residential property. Fine. So now they also say the payment on account on the capital gains tax is due by 29th of September 2025. So considering this 31st of July. Okay, so we have August and we have September, so that sums up to 60 days. Okay, the sale of the residential property is taking place in July, and since July 31st of July 25, 29th of September 2025 would be 60 days. So that is the time period for payment on account. Okay, as they say. So let's see how we can work this out. I would like to take this to the Excel sheet for you to have a better understanding. So let's see here. So first of all, we will have the calculation only for the residential property, and then we will have the calculation for the total value, because we know that it should be part of the self-assessment. Okay, so let's see. So that is, let's start a new right here. Okay, so I wanted to have a separate sheet for the separate example. So let's put it here. This is the example, and let's start attempting it. Okay, so here's the question. This provides us plenty of space to do the calculations here. Okay, so we have this CGT on the residential property. The date of sale is this 31st of July 2025. So we have this gain of 125,000. From this gain, we deduct the current year capital loss, which is the current year capital loss is from this land, which is 5,000. So we're left with 120,000, and then we take this the annual exempt amount, which is 3,000, and we're left with this 117,000, and from this one we take away the capital loss, which is brought forward from the previous year. So that is 9,000. So the total value that is going to be the taxable would be this. So that is oops. Okay, so we need to do this in steps. Like this is 120 left here. Then from 120 we take away the 3,000, and then we have this. So we can say that this is the final. It is not the correct value. We need to work it out. So it is just the sum should be between these two, 117 and 9. So there is 108,000. So the CGT will be 108,000 into 24%, considering Dorothy is a higher rate taxpayer. So which means that there is no 18% applicable here. So we say 108,000 into 0.24. So that is 25,920. This is the gain on the residential property. Now when we make the CGT calculation for the tax year, 2025-26. So we will have the whole thing done. We will have the taxable gain on residential property, which we've already calculated as 108,000. And we have the other one, the gain on sale of shares on 30th of June 2025. So that gain is 11,000. From this, we can deduct the capital loss on sale of shares on this took on 30th of September. So that is 2025. So we can deduct that. That is 10,000. Okay. So we can have this net gain. So that is here. So there is this net gain, which is 1,000. Okay. So on this 1,000, we have this. So overall, the total gain is 108,000 on the residential property, plus we could just add here that the total gain includes the one that is on residential property, and the other one is on the shares. So that is 1,000. So in total, it is 109,000. 109,000. The CGT will be 109,000 multiplied by 24%. Okay. So we calculate this value here as 109,000 into 24%. So that is 26,160, and less the CGT paid on the residential property gain. We did this payment on 29 September 2025. Okay, so that was less the 25,920. Okay, so because it is already paid on a payment on account, so that had to be settled within the 60 days. So this is the one which is left. So the CGT to be settled along with the balancing payment. Okay, so that is how we calculate it. So now we could also verify like the gains other than residential property are 240 or 1,000 actually. And if we just apply the rate separately on them, 24%, that would be 240. Okay, so this is just verified that we have done the calculation correctly, because the net gain on the shares was 1,000, and when we did the whole calculation, we see the total gain based on the total tax on the total gain was 26,160. Since 25,920 was already paid, so the balance is to be 240, and we also get to know why the balance is 240, because the only gain which is not taxed is 1,000. So when we tax 1,000 into 24%, that is 240. So this is how we calculate. So this whole procedure has to be done when the overall CGT is calculated, and this would be claimed. Okay, claimed for the self-assessment. Okay, so that is how it is done. So we got to know the treatment of the residential property, the payment on account, and then we also looked at the overall situation of the CGT throughout this year. So it was a good example to understand both.